Okay, we have a question from Sarah. Sarah writes, I tried a juice fast but got really bad stomach troubles. It only lasted a day and a half. I really want to succeed with this, and I need to know if this is a phase that passes over time, or is this just what it's like on a juice fast?
That's an excellent question. Now, what I have to say is all our bodies are different and unique, and we react in different ways to what we put into our bodies. The other interesting thing is, of the 10 plus juice fasts I've completed, they've never been the same. So first of all, let me say this. Don't just jump straight into a fast. Joe Cross shared with us a very interesting story about the night before Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, the night before he went on his 60-day reboot. He had a huge, I think it was sushi, a huge sushi meal with beers and dessert, you know, and this is a human reaction. It's human nature. You gotta go 60 days without food, you get a pig out. But not just that, he went up to his room at 11:30, he looked at the clock and he's like, you know what, the clock's ticking. I've got 30 minutes here to, you know, get some food. So he went downstairs, he found a diner, of course he was in New York City, and he ate bacon, I think it was like a cheeseburger and fries and a chocolate cake,
Wow.
and I think it was a milkshake. It was a huge list of things that he read. So the greatest thing about Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, and what I really applaud Joe for, is you see how difficult the first few days are. And let's be honest, the man is trying to make up for years of neglect in terms of, or abuse in terms of what he's put into his body. So I was glad to see that, because it is very difficult at the beginning. And eating that kind of food before you go into a fast is not cool. So my advice is, 2 weeks before, start taking the processed food out, start eating more greens, more salads, more raw, drinking plenty of water. If you can, remove the caffeine, coffee and tea, so you can get your diet. So by the time you start your fast, you're on a clean diet. Now, it's interesting that usually I wee a lot. I don't want to get too graphic here, but when I juice fast, when you think of how many juices,
It's a lot of liquids.
it was funny at Camp Reboot. I mean, I was joking with some of the guys there that I felt like moving my bed in there, because I'm in the bathroom constantly because you're consuming so much liquids, as you should. This time around, it was interesting. For the first time, I normally have issues with movement. Let's say they're not that regular. For the first few days of a cleanse, this time I had the opposite. I was in and out of the loo for that reason, and it was really new to me. But I think it was because at the camp we were having 5 different juices that were all very different from each other. And when I do a cleanse here at home, I might just have 2 different recipes, because I'll make a big batch, 2 or 3, and then in the evening I'll make another one. Maybe it was that, or maybe I'd eaten something that had got that reaction. And it's a natural reaction, because your body is cleaning itself when it's going through obviously through the cleanse. So generally I find by day 4 I've got rid of all the detox issues and the headaches, and maybe I've had a rash or some skin issues. By day 4 my energy levels are through the roof. You don't want to be around me on day 4. I'm sure I'm extremely annoying, where I'm just full of beans. So yeah, those first few days are tough, and you got to be prepared for it. But the cleaner you get your diet beforehand, the easier it will be.
Good advice. We have another question from Anna. Anna writes, what do you think that has been the greatest contributor to your success?
The greatest contributor has without a doubt been the amount of resources available online now, and also the amount of literature. If you look here again, I've got loads of books on juicing. I read those during the cleanse. I will watch films like Hungry for Change, Forks Over Knives, Vegucated was one, of course Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead. And listen guys, if you've got Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, there is a ton of bonus content. I was amazed to learn at Camp Reboot that Joe shot 500 hours.
Wow.
They had 500 hours of footage to get in 1 hour and a half.
Wow.
So there were a lot of people that they followed on their own reboots that they weren't able to put into the final movie. So dig out the DVD, watch that bonus content, especially the scene with the laundrette, And if you don't laugh at the little kid in the laundrette, then you have no sense of humor. I mean, it's incredible. So that's what I try and do. I try and inspire myself by reading good books on juicing or good inspirational books. And I go on websites. I look at before and after photos. And there is so much out there now, and a lot of that again is down to Joe Cross and really creating this juicing revolution. Years ago, juicing was only for health nuts and hippies. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's very mainstream.
Yeah. Good point. We have another question from Shirley, and Shirley writes, "You always seem to find juice bars. Where do you live?"
I live in a galaxy far, far away on planet Juice. I am very, very lucky to be living in New York City. And when I moved here from San Francisco, I was shocked because I'd always seen San Francisco as probably the most health-conscious city in the United States. But there weren't that many juice bars in San Francisco. There was Jamba Juice, but I'm not a big fan of Jamba Juice. And when I moved here, there's, as you've seen from the photos we put up there, juice carts on corners, juice trucks. There's high-end juice bars, there's medium juice bars, everywhere. And you've been here this week.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Within a 10-minute stroll of my home here, I probably want to say there's 12 to 15 different juice options, which is incredible. So very lucky. And my dream is that more and more cities become this way. And guys, if you demand this, if you go to a health store or a vegan restaurant not doing juices, the more you ask for this, they're all business guys, and hopefully they will start to offer more juices.
We have a question from Vicky, and Vicky writes, "Looking back, what would you have done differently if you had to start over again?"
What would I have done differently? Well, Vicky, you know what? There's quite a few things I would have done differently, but I'm kind of pleased I didn't. Because this whole journey, no one's waving a magic wand and you're perfect from day one. You will make mistakes. You will fall off the wagon. Maybe you're aiming for a 7-day juice fast and you fall at day 3. The main thing is you ask yourself, okay, why did I fall at day 3? Well, I had to go to a party or someone's wedding or a social event. So next time when I plan this, I have to do 1 week, but I know I've not got anything planned. Maybe you walked past a pizza place and smelled the pizza and you caved in, whatever it may be. There are mistakes, but they're all part of the journey, because as long as you learn from those mistakes, so the next time you ever go at it, you kind of know, okay, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. And it's okay to make mistakes. It really is how you learn and how you develop, and you educate yourself not to make those mistakes again.
Well, we have more great questions coming up in part 5 from our Running Juice community.